You know who you are. You left a pretty long comment explaining the benefits. That email helped push me over the edge to say, you know what, it's worth it. Now you have to be very gentle because there's baby chickens in there.
Come on.
Hey there you go, folks. I haven't done Work With Me Wednesdays now in a long time, but given all the work I have and all the content I've been filming just from getting all that work done and all those projects, I may as well throw up some Work With Me Wednesday videos. So I'm doing one this Wednesday just to see how it goes. The primary thing I want to tackle today is the attic, but there's a couple of other things, notably getting some eggs in the incubator and talking to folks about our berry patch area, what we decided to do with that. You remember so I'll jump right into that. You remember last year we decided to, after I cleared all this bush, we decided to grow sunflowers here because there was a lot of industrial waste in this ground here. Sunflowers are known for sucking those toxins up. We'll probably grow sunflowers again here in a few months, but until then, silage tarp. The silage tarp that I did have over the garden, I'm using that right now to just smother any weeds we've got going here for the next maybe 2 months. We actually sowed our sunflower seeds very late last year. I think it was like in June. I'd have to go back and look, but it was late in the season, and we'll probably do that again this year. Maybe we'll do it in May this year. We'll sow a bag of just cheap sunflower seeds that you get for birds at the store. That's probably what we'll do. I also pruned up my apple trees and sprayed them down with copper right before they started to bloom out, which, let's take a look. I think they're starting to poke out. You'll start to see little buds here starting to bud out, at least on this apple tree, and across the way I think this one is too. But I did prune them up. What do we got? Yep, look at that. It's starting to. Spring is starting to make itself known. Anyways, let's talk about the attic and what I've done and what I decided I'm going to be doing moving forward with that. Okay, so arguably the toughest part of prepping the attic for closed cell foam insulation application is over. And that was closing off the open entries to the larger attic space, which is this entire wall over here and this wall over here. Those were the big things that the insulation company asked me to do. I just used very thin siding, actually, just particle board that Dad had been using as siding leftovers, and that did the trick. The next step that we need to do is figure out to make sure that we get the rafters lined up so we can sister up any 2x4s to kind of fur them out as necessary. So when I lay it across my board, I think we're going to do tongue and groove when we cover up after the insulation. There's not big waves and warps in that wood, and it's relatively uniform across the plane. A bigger question that I got from some folks is why we're going ahead with the closed cell foam. I expressed some concern a couple of videos back about the possibility of leaks. If there's a leak underneath the closed cell foam, and that leak's going down, it's traveling behind the closed cell foam and pulling up somewhere, it can cause rot, and you'd never know where it came from or how to get to it. You'd essentially have to remove your roof. It would be a big hassle. That's a risk. However, between the opinions of Jim, who we really trust, Jim from Two Turtles Homestead, who's a contractor, he's very experienced, and the guy from the installation company, I know he's trying to sell me, but he could offer me all sorts of different types of insulation, and he still suggested closed cell foam as well as some comments that I got. I'd especially like to thank the commenter, I think it's PN Hut. You know who you are. You left a pretty long comment explaining the benefits of closed cell foam in this particular application. And that email helped push me over the edge to say, you know what, the risks with a metal roof with solid fasteners and no leaks, no current leaks, are low enough to where it's worth it. There's really very few other options that we have to adequately cool this space up here, given how thin these rafters are. We could push these rafters out and bulk them up and then just throw in tons of batting. But then we wouldn't really have a functional room. We'd have to crouch and it would just be a storage space. We want a functional room in here. Really, the primary way that we can do that is closed cell foam. So we'll talk about more about the risks versus the rewards, but in future videos, especially after they've applied it, it'll be cool to see. But for now, suffice it to say, given all the guidance and counsel by people that are a lot smarter about this stuff than I am, we're going to go ahead and make that move and do the closed cell foam. One other thing to say is that we're just doing it in this room. There's a much larger attic space. The house is much bigger than just this little room. We're not doing the closed cell over the entire roof of our house. We're just doing it in this little room that we use as an office space up here. That's it. So, we're creating the envelope in here to make this a conditioned room, but everywhere else still has traditional batting on the floor to keep all the warm air out of the living space below in the summer and the cool air out in the winter. So yeah, we're going to do it. We're moving forward with it. At this point, we're mostly done. The date for the foam application is April 4th, I think. So we've got 2.5 weeks or something like that. Enough time to clean up, do little cleanup things. We want to just get some of this stuck drywall in here. I obviously want to remove this light panel, take the light off and move the electrical box to the stud. Right now it's just floating behind the drywall. I also did things like adding these strike plates above wherever there's wire so I don't actually accidentally screw into the wire. Thank you, Jim, for that tip. So we're just about there. We're almost ready. I think we'll do the planes, checking the planes with string next. But that's where we're at on this project. You can sit there. We need to take these eggs and put them in here like that, very gently. Can you do that? Good job. Let's do that one. Very gentle. There you go. Baby chicken. Yeah, these will be baby chickens. That's right.
This is a big egg than 1, 2, 3 eggs.
Now you have to be very gentle because there's baby chickens in there.
Mommy, I got lots of eggs.
You do have a lot of eggs, honey.
Gentle. There you go. Perfect. All right, one more.
Yay!
Good job. Thank you, buddy. We're going to set this up in the room, and then there will be baby chickens that hatch.
We're going to get our baby chickens from the eggs.
In 3 weeks. Also, we've been wanting some more meat chickens to eat. So these 2 Bresse chickens, B-R-E-S-S-E, it's a type of French breed of meat chicken that we really enjoy. We've eaten up all the other ones we've had in our freezer. So there's 2 hens, and we've been collecting their eggs for the past week. They each lay an egg pretty much every day. So it didn't take us long to collect 12 eggs. So with the help of little yeoman, Henry, we loaded them up into the incubator, and we're going to give it 21 days, see what kind of hatch out we get, and hopefully get a lot more meat chickens. After the meat chickens, we'll probably do a round or 2 of just laying chickens in the incubator as well, just to have them on hand, and maybe do turkeys as well. I've never tried turkeys in that incubator, turkey eggs, but Lenny has been mating with the 2 turkey hens very frequently. Multiple times a day. Lenny's been quite busy. So the turkey hens are laying eggs, and so I might throw some turkey eggs in the incubator as well. We'll see. First things first, though, meat chicken eggs. Let's get those going. We've got a lot more daylight in the day, which means we can do chores, outside chores, in the evening after we eat dinner. And so one of the things I'm doing right now is prepping the garden for some edging by digging these trenches. We'll talk about that more in a future video. But hopefully I'll be done here in the next day or 2 and be able to throw some corrugated metal edging around the edges of the garden to help mitigate the Bermuda grass. Again, we'll talk about that in the next video, but In the meantime, thanks for hanging out with us on this Wednesday. And until we see you again this Sunday, remember, as always, slowly, slowly.